All right, we'll be going on. Of course, collation of results have been halted for now as a time of recess is being observed in Benin Kebbi.
1 hour to be precise.
Yes, okay. Yes. Yeah, it's still recess anyway for people to actually just get a breather as collation will continue by 3 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, let's bring in Okpayemi Alabi, who is a management consultant, to probably give us his thoughts about all the developing stories we are witnessing in the course of this election, and more importantly, at this stage of our democratic process, should we still be experiencing teething problems and hitches like this when it comes to elections? Talk to us, Okpayemi.
Yeah, good afternoon, Aaron.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Awesome. Good afternoon, Aaron. What I see in this election is this. What we see as progress most of the time is that we expect forward movement without any form of hindrance. But the definition of my own definition of progress is basically having the knowledge that when you embark on a journey of a forward movement, you must be willing to be able to tackle any obstacles. So it's movement, moving forward, regardless of the obstacles. Now, that being said, and really clear, looking at this, our electoral process, it's not without a hitch, no doubt about that. But the point is, I believe so much so that with all these things that are happening, it's going into our experience bank so that we understand that when we are moving forward within any form of sojourn, we should expect any type of obstacle. And when we meet the obstacle, we should also know that we must have the ability to surmount it. So looking at this electoral process once more, it's supposed to be straightforward. It's not rocket science. So when something that is supposed to be straightforward is not, it's either as a result of ineptitude or ill intent. So that is the case in which we are looking at today in our electoral circle, both the presidential elections and the gubernatorial elections, where the itches are lying and not where the itches are supposed to be. Because when we are talking about discrepancies in declaration of result, you will see that most of these things should not happen if there was proper planning. And if there's proper planning and there's no form of internal sabotage, then it should not happen. So because of all these, the itches we are seeing today could be as a result of either ineptitude on the part of the electoral umpire or just ill intent.
Okay, you mentioned proper planning, and it always baffles me understanding that these things are always spelled out in black and white before the elections, whereby the commission involved, it could be for the census or for the election, but let's actually visit into the elections right now. These are always spelled in black and white, the processes, what needs to be done, all the plans that have been put in place to ensure that we have a hitch-free election. But once again, we get to see things that, you say this is not rocket science, but with the way things always go, sometimes you can but ask, this might just be rocket science playing out as simple arithmetics.
Well, Aaron, it still falls into the two brackets of the factors I just gave. Now, if they told us that they properly planned and the monies were committed towards this election and they did everything they were supposed to do, then it has to fall to ill intent. It has to fall to a situation of an intentional sabotage of the system. And it's so done brazenly that it's almost daring. Like Voltaire said, that those who that make you believe, auspiciousness, believe any form of mediocrity, can also make you commit atrocities. So it's getting to a level where people are getting to their tipping point. You know, they are doing it right in front of the people and just like asking, like, what are you going to do about it? So the level of impunity we are seeing in this process is extremely high. And then if you talk about the planning, and the planning was done properly, the way it's supposed to be done, then we have to look at the internal processes of sabotage and not just looking at it. Like I normally say, Nigerians don't lack people that can spell out their problems in black and white. What we lack are people that can provide solutions, innovators. We don't lack educated people here. What we lack are solution providers. So when we are having issues like this come up, like I said, progress is surmounting the obstacles and moving ahead, regardless of what you find on the way. No journey in life is itch-free. Now we've gotten to this electoral cycle, I've been able to combat some almost ridiculous problem to the point of, some people will call it a form of a phantasmagoria. You know, some problem that is so absurd that it should not even occur. So what is going on now, and what we are seeing is as a result of offenses like this, similar offenses in the past, not punished. Do you understand? So when people don't pay for doing the wrong things, then even the most disciplined man can be tempted to do the wrong things for profit.
Very good, Opeyemi. Earlier, you also alluded to the fact that the perception of ill intent, and of course, the fact that, you know, basically this isn't rocket science, it's very straightforward. So what are your expectations? INEC is calling all the stakeholders regarding the Adamawa stalled coalition there. What are your expectations regarding their findings and, you know, generally what will happen at the end of the day since all the stakeholders have been summoned to Abuja?
All right, thank you for that question. Now, man cannot be freed by the same injustice that enslaved it. So when you talk about expectation of what? The same people that are culpable in all this level of malpractice that we are seeing, the same umpire that has lost the faith of Nigerians. To be really frank with you, the expectations are extremely low. So, like I said, man cannot be freed by the same system of injustice that enslaved it. What we need to do as a people is to understand the fact that there are so many things within our system as a country that needs to be changed. The rot in this country, what we are seeing today are just offshoots. They are symptoms of what has been there for a long time. It's not as if we just woke up and we just found it like this. There's a build-up to this. It's a spiral down, it's a trickle-down effect. It's an accumulation of so many things that has been left unchecked for years that we are now seeing now. So for us to say we are really shocked at something like this happening is to live in fantasy. Do you understand? So expectation is extremely low. Like I said, man cannot be freed by the same system of injustice that put it in enslavement.
All right, let's still bring in Opeyemi. Opeyemi, we've seen how things have actually played out in terms of collation and in terms of the suspension that was being done by INEC. What do you make of all this?
All right, thank you very much, Aaron. To go quickly to the question you asked me before the break, why are we seeing such ill performance from the academic elites within this electoral system? One thing I will let you know is this: education does not insulate from bad morals. Okay? So the fact that somebody is educated or articulate doesn't mean the person is good. And then the putrefaction of our society as a whole, as a country, is insidious. It's something that has happened over the years. So we talk as if these people are not part of the society. They are also part of the society as well. And like I told you before, that anybody that can make you believe an absurdity can also make you commit atrocity. So when we keep seeing things like this happen without proper punishment, I mean, I was just listening to the young man speaking now before you called back to me, and he was using words like madness on national TV. You know, it has devolved to this level of even calling people certain names because it's so absurd. It has gotten to a level of reductio ad absurdum. You understand? So I just believe so much so that when we have found ourselves in this well of absurdity that we have found ourselves in, the first step we have to take is we have to stop digging, and we have to look for a way out. Like I said, we don't lack people that can point out the problems in different terms, but we lack people that can look at where the solutions can start germinating from. So that is what we should look at. This has come and gone. As citizens, our expectations and hopes, to be really frank with you, most of us were bashed. And like it has gotten to a level of the absurd. So now that we have gotten to this level, what can we do to move ahead? Because if we keep expecting the same thing from the same set of people, the definition of foolishness is basically to expect this, do the same thing and expect a different result. So I think it's time for us to change an approach in the way we see governance.
So a different approach on the way we see governance. What major specifics would you highlight here in terms of that change you just tried to explain?
Awesome, thank you. Please, what's your name? You never introduced yourself when I started this.
My name is Niyo Ilo.
Okay, thank you, Niyi. So, to be specific now, the average Nigerian sees the democratic rule as the government of the government, by the government, and for the government. Meaning that they just elect people and then they stay on their promises and they keep expecting a change. You have a duty as a citizen to be the ombudsman of the government. You have a duty as a citizen to be the quality control and the monitoring and evaluation unit of the government. So when people come to you and say, I'm going to give you road in 2023, when China is talking about underwater railway, we are still talking about I will give you light and road, it's absurd. So when they even come like that, you are supposed to interrogate them and ask them that, okay, first of all, what is the problem of electricity? Is it transmission? Is it generation? If they tell you the problem, for somebody to solve your problem, they must understand it. So when they tell you the problem, then you must interrogate the how. In this electoral circle, both the gubernatorial, the House of Rep, the presidential, the missing element is the how. People come and tell you they are going to do bogus things, tell you lofty ambitions, and at the end of the day, they don't tell you how they are going to arrive there. If I tell you I want to take you on a journey and I want to travel to a place, you must ask me how. So because we have this slipshod, nonchalant attitude of taking promise merchants. That's why I call them now promise merchants. Taking their word for it and expecting a different result. We will keep still going over the same thing. Now, they even play party politics. They pull a wool over our eyes. What do I mean by this? I normally see politicians are people that are cut from the same fabric. It doesn't matter. The fabric may be green, blue, but at the end of the day, when you feel their texture, they are almost always the same. And if we don't interrogate the how of how they want to provide us a better nation and our role in it, we won't be able to play the pertinent role of being the ombudsman of the government that, hey, you told us within your first 100 days you will solve this problem. We've been monitoring this. Where can we come in? But if we have this slipshod attitude of, oh, let them do whatever they want to do, we don't really care, we just need the results. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, which means there's a role for us to play. But if we look at it and just take their word for it, they give little change here and there, every electoral cycle, we vote them based on promises and looks, we will keep getting the same results. So when we talk about the government is actually the people. It's not a few handful of people that call themselves politicians. I don't think we have up to 2 million politicians in this country, in a nation of over 200 million people. The people in INEC today are not politicians. So when we are talking about a rot in the system, it's not just a political class. It's insidious. We are talking about within ourselves. What are our morals? What are our values? If you take a look at the society right now, who are even the celebrities we really uphold? Are these the celebrities that do good humanitarian things? Or these are people that display madness? So there's a vacuum of morals in the society. And every leader you see come out of a community is a reflection of that particular community. So when we are pointing one finger at the politicians, 4 points back at ourselves.
You've actually stirred the honestness, I must actually say, in terms of how things have actually played out in this political cycle. But some still believe all hope is not lost. Do you believe so too?
Oh, yes, all hope is not lost. I am of a strong belief that within every generation are problems. And within every generation are solution providers. If you look at the list, the Forbes list of billionaires today, they didn't become billionaires by their good looks. They identified a need, a problem in the society, and they solved it. So I believe so much so, if we look at the world from a prism of problems, we will continue to find problems. But if we look at the world from a prism of solutions, we'll continue to find solutions. I make bold to tell you this as a citizen. I took a look at our mining industry, and I saw that Nigeria has a huge deposit of lithium. So I did my finding. I discovered a company called Wayu Cobalt. They are one of the major lithium miners in the world. We've written to them as a company, and we've been going back and forth in correspondence, and they are willing to come aboard to have a meeting with the next government to see where we can, develop the mining industry. As you know, lithium is the new crude oil. So when we have this mindset of, what can I do? It doesn't matter where you are, you can contribute your quota. What can I do? What value can I have? Because if we keep looking at problems, we will keep finding problems. It's just basically a filter, like I normally say. If you go to an online shopping mall now, and you want to buy something, and you filter, let's say you want to buy bags, and you set your filter on bags, you will continue to see bags. While I may enter the same shopping mall, online shopping mall, and I don't set my filter on anything, and I will see everything. So we have to set our filter to solutions. there's no problem in this life without a solution. There's no question without an answer. We just have to have the right mindset. When people talk about revolution needed in this country, the first revolution is the revolution of the mind. How do we see ourselves as a people? I keep telling people within my immediate environment that you can't wake up and say ill things about your country where you sweat and you sow your seed and you expect a bountiful harvest. An average American wakes up and can say, God bless America. But I won't say because of the action of a few people, I will curse the country of my birth. I would not do that. So I would rather look at it and say, now, I'm in this situation. What can we do as a collective to provide solutions? So there is light at the end of the tunnel if we get truly innovative and patriotic people on board.
Yes, patriotic people on board. But Opeyemi, earlier on you were talking about the issue of the role the people themselves have to play in ensuring some kind of equity and justice here. But money still plays, a crucial factor in our political, thinking, as it were. So when do we go beyond that, as a people, and not play to the whims of the political class in that regard?
Thank you very much. You spelt the obvious. You said money plays a critical role. Actually, money plays a critical role in all areas of human endeavor. You understand? So it's not just in politics alone. Now, that being said, some people are of the school of thought that the ruling class for years have weaponized lack and poverty against the people so that they can use them at will by giving them peanuts. That is what some people think. But one thing I will tell you is this: nobody can make you poor without your approval. I know it may sound motivational, but it's true. Like I said, if you look at the world from a position of solutions, you would find people such as yourself, and you will be able to build up something. I mentioned something earlier. I said on my own, I took a look at, I'm not the Minister of Mines, still, but I took at that ecosystem. I took a look at the ecosystem and I discovered we have lithium. We have so many solid minerals in this country that are even really untapped. So I wrote to the biggest lithium mining company, one of the top 10 in the world. Right now, currently, they are looking to come into the country to have a meeting and see how they can develop. That's development. So I don't have to wait for the government to do that. Now, when I have a philosophy of approach every table with value. Now, when I'm able to get these people on board, then I can go to the next Minister of Mine and Steel or the government and say, I have these people, this is what they want to do in this country. What are we going to give them in return? And what are we going to get from them? Thereby creating jobs. So it's basically from you, every Nigerian must change their mindset of waiting, entitlement. Oh, when I vote for you, you have every right for you to make me rich. No government is supposed to make you rich. They're supposed to create an enabling environment for you to thrive and to be able to create wealth yourself. So we must have a wealth creation mindset using the term of value. If I want to approach Arise, what value do I have to bring to them? Not just because I know somebody there. So we should run a meritocracy based on a value-based system. And that is also how we're going to be able to root out all these mediocres that masquerade themselves every 4 years as solution providers. Most of these people have sat across the table with them. They are as dull as the dullest blade. When you ask them, this is what you want to do, how do you want to get there? They will tell you that, well, I've told you what I want to do. When I get there, I will start day one. There is no actual plan. There's no actionable intel on what they want to do. So, like the philosopher Goethe says, a man is never deceived, he deceives himself. So we always buy into their lies, but now is the time to change our mindset and challenge them and say, okay, you know what? This is your duty as a government. Why are you not playing this role? But if we don't do that and we just, every 4 years, we just vote and we kick our legs off the table and we're expecting a result, we'll keep getting the same thing.
All right, we want to say thank you very much for joining us here on Newsday as Nigeria Decides. We're still visiting into the elections and the collation going on in Kebbi and Adamawa states.